Welcome back, Yackers, to another lovely episode of Yak Back. I'm your host, not Jake Liberty, but Christine Swalia, and today we'll be talking about some numerous topics. First off, we're going to talk about clowns, creepy, killer on campus. Then we're going to switch over to some puppy love. They weren't really so loved, but now they're loved again. And then we're going to end the show off with Kim K and her recent robbery. Stay tuned. Hello, Yackers. We're up first, and we're going to talk about killer clowns on campus spotted in Southwest. But there was mobs. We'll find out. Here to talk about them, we have Sharon, Bernsey, and new today, Dan. All right. So, do any of you live in Southwest? And if so, were you there Monday night?
Yes, so I live in Southwest. I actually I wasn't in the midst of what was happening. I was in my dorm, and I heard a lot of noise going on outside. But I had no idea what was going on. Then I get a phone call from my friend. He goes, Mike, stay inside. I hear there's clowns outside with guns. And then so I start freaking out. Like I didn't think this was just some silly joke. I thought there were like shooters out there. And so I lock my door. I'm just looking outside. It kind of quiets down. I kind of find out. The next day, I don't think there were actually clowns on campus, or nobody knows. But there was apparently a mob of kids just chasing around what they thought was clowns, and that's probably what I heard. So I don't really know if you guys know any more.
I actually saw on the Snap story of the UMass Snapchat story. And it was just people, it's we're gonna get the clown, and just taking a video of the mob just walking, and they did have the bats. It looked threatening, but they were just having too much fun with it. It wasn't this is serious. There's so much there's gonna be danger.
Dan, what do you think? Do you support the mob, or do you think they were more of a hindrance than a help?
Well, I think for every theater major at UMass, I felt really scared out of their minds at that moment because my one-man show is going to get canceled now. But I think it's just kind of funny. I don't think the clown thing, it's a problem, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. Because I think it's the same thing that my friend, he put it really well when the shooter was on campus, the shooter from last year. He said something along the lines of, we live in Orchard Hill. We're on the 4th floor of a building. If that kid wants to hike all the way up from where he is, up a hill, up 4 flights of stairs for us, he's earned it. He deserves to get us at that point because we were just lazy.
Or there's a very specific reason they would
we live behind brick walls. That guy's got to work, and that clown is not going to do that. And also, UMass is probably one of the nerdiest schools I've ever seen in my life. Do you know how many people are just waiting around Halloween to put on that Batman costume and just go to town on whatever clown they find? It's going to be a free-for-all. And I think the mob is just it was fun to watch, and I think it was interesting, but they didn't find anything, and I don't even think there was anything on campus. But I don't know.
I personally support the mob. It makes me feel safer, if there is a clown, I know I got mad Swesty bros about to take him down with a baseball bat and some natty light.
But a gun against a bat. Who do you think is going to win?
He's got 30 bullets. There's 300 kids at least. That's odds. You could probably make it decent.
Well, yeah. On a more serious note, I would feel that's a good way to deal with it anyway, because they say if there is a shooter, clown or not, you're supposed to run, hide, and then fight.
Fight the clown.
But there's a lot of room for the shooter to do what he wants to do. If you actually if you have a Southwest task force, and they got bats or whatever. Okay, some people might get shot, but that's gonna happen anyways. Get the
lose a couple
person. If
people.
there's
That's a really good
they might
outlook on
run
that.
away.
Yeah.
But like it's serious because if you could actually stop it, less people might get shot than would actually.
Okay.
It's on a serious note. I think that's not a bad strategy.
I don't think it's really worth the craziness at schools because I think it wasn't like Merrimack or UNH had like a sighting on their campus.
Yeah, lockdown.
And I think that's what made us go out to do it. It's like, okay, there's a bunch of let's go see if there's clowns on UMass because of course UMass thinks there's going to be a clown here. But we're not gonna get outdone by those guys. If they've got a clown, we've got 5. Everything's always bigger at UMass. Come on.
You know, like how in like the horror movies, they're like, oh my, when we're watching, it's like, no, don't go in there. No, don't go to the noise. This is like all of us in that movie
Going to do it.
going to do it. When we all know it's like, yo, this is not a good idea to go towards a clown. Let's not attack it.
For once, the kids who live in Sylvan are the smart ones. Like, no one even knows we're here. We're fine. No one's even gonna come here.
What do you think is like the point of all of these clowns though? Because it's not just like UMass. It's been like 26 states, I think I read today.
I think it's just for fun. I think it's just like social media just kind of like infected everyone. It's just like once someone puts down, hey, there's a clown, everybody will react to it.
I think
It's like a virus.
Yeah, I think it's like the copycat effect. Like, this happens so much just like with people. Somebody does one thing and it's a funny joke and it just becomes this huge thing. Look at the Harambe thing. That joke started like...
Microaggression.
Yeah, I'm not even supposed to mention that.
Oh, we're getting taken off the air already.
Yeah, because UMass like banned that because it started in like June or something, that joke. And it's like continuing now. I saw like a memorial near Goodell for.
Yeah,
you guys
I saw
see
that.
It's like this joke has gone on. It's like, in my opinion, way too far. But
I remember reading that the clown sightings, they didn't just start in America. I know they started over in the UK originally or somewhere in Europe. And I think I read some of that they were like a promotional tool for like movies. Like a clown would be outside, but he's like, it's like viral marketing. So I think like they're taking that idea of trying to get like some kind of thing moving. And whether or not, like, I don't think to any extent a lot of the clowns are actually trying to harm people. I think the ones that are the minority, like in most cases. And I think that the way most of these guys are going out, they're just trying to harass people. And that's what, like, a lot of these people, they want you to pay attention to one of them. Because, like, that's a news story that gets them out there and that gets whatever they want to promote out there, whether or not you know it or not.
Do you think it's potentially dangerous for these clowns or like clown pranksters though? Like what happens when one of them accidentally gets mauled by a mob?
That's their fault.
It's gonna happen. Like that's gonna be what like is the tipping point of it. It's like someone's either gonna get shot or gonna get attacked or gonna get like just maced or something else that's probably even more hilarious. But you know, like it's gonna happen and it's gonna be like all over the internet and people are gonna be like, well, what was this all about? And then it's gonna just go away.
I think it's becoming that Harambe type joke. It could. And Halloween, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a scary time.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the time we have, folks. Hopefully, beware for Halloween. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back. This segment, we're going to be talking about some puppy love and some Pitbulls up in Canada. I have with me the same exact people, and we're back. All right, guys. So recently, Canada, or Montreal specifically, decided that they were going to eliminate all of the Pitbulls or Pitbull-looking dogs that didn't have owners that were going to pay $150. Anyone have any immediate thoughts on the subject?
I think that's probably like one of the things that we study a lot in politics is like just bills that are passed or made into law just because they need something to like show they're doing
like
progress.
A scapegoat.
Pretty much. So I feel like this was a bill that was passed with not a lot of hindsight over it because first of all, they're going to get so much oversight over this in the first place by every animals rights group in the world, every single like member of that community, from what I've heard, who are mostly a welcoming one. I mean, we're talking about the same country that lets in a bunch of like refugees all the time, has a very like progressively minded. Why am I blanking on his position?
Social conscious.
Yeah, but they're like their main like prime
Trudeau.
minister. Yeah, Trudeau. Yeah, he's very like open-minded and very like progressive in his thought. I'm shocked he's not more against this, and he probably will be.
Well, they did get rid of the act. It's not
Yeah.
happening. The Pitbulls are safe.
Yeah.
But it is kind of scary that this was a thing that they were going to do.
I can get the logic behind it in a way because I'm sure that pit bulls are just by nature, are a more dangerous dog and breed than others, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like what they've been bred to do.
Wait, I don't believe that they were born in nature to be like vicious.
Well, no, but like
it's like it depends on the owners. The owners are the one who actually like.
yeah,
raise
that definitely plays a part of it.
I don't think they're any more dangerous by nature and like mentality, but they do have a very thick skull, and I think they have like a lot of features that make them good at attacking and destroying things. Mm-hmm. So when they are trained poorly, like they're really good at being bad.
It's the idea that like people are afraid that this dog above others is like causing an issue of safety. So like say you have a beagle, you have him. Like the beagle, most people are gonna look at a beagle and be like, okay, he's probably not that dangerous unless he's trained to be. And because that's not what they ever were bred to do. They were bred to like farm animals and stuff and like smell stuff. Pit bulls are more just aggressive by nature, not in a bad way. Like that's not a problem. That's not their fault. And it's like if you have a good trainer, they won't be like that, and they can be like I know a friend in my neighborhood who has one. Lovely dog, doesn't do anything wrong. Is very well because they were trained well. So I think the responsibility should be on the owners and not just be punishing the dogs for doing something that it's instinct. It's like blaming a bird for like flying in a certain area. You can't help it, and you shouldn't be punishing them for it.
I think a big part of the law or bill that was going to be passed was also discriminatory because it was $150 was what you had to pay in order to keep the pit bull. So does anyone have any thoughts on that part of the story?
I think I mean, that doesn't make too much. I don't quite understand. Like, because if they want to kill them all, I don't understand what the $150 is. That makes me think it's kind of like what you were saying, where they have to like move certain laws, get certain things passed, and then that would bring in revenue. Like you were saying with Trudeau, he's supposed to be this very social, progressive candidate. I don't understand. I didn't really know about this. I don't understand how Canada's supposed to be like a very nice progressive country. Was it like a specific province, or was it the whole?
I think it was Montreal specifically, but and I think it's crazy that it's not even pit bulls though. It's anything that looks like a pit bull.
The problem goes back to really just the fact that animals, not only in Canada, but you can even say the same about the United States, they don't have nearly as many protection laws as they should. Speaking like Massachusetts, just to bring it back here, just passed a bill recently that says if you see a dog in a hot car, you are legally now allowed to break the car open to get the dog out. That had never been a law before. And so animals, I think, tend not to get as much like protections because they're not thought of as like equal to us. And to some people they're not. To some people they're pets, but like they should still be given basic rights.
I just think it's ridiculous because imagine if we did this with people. If all of a sudden we were like, oh, this one race or anyone who looks like this one race, gotta go. I think that might have happened at one point.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Just a little bit.
Like.
And I think you raise a good point. It's like it is similar to what's happening with certain following of people, and when you say every single person or dog of one does this, that's where it gets dangerous. And you may say it's just dogs, but then the same type of thinking can start happening. And maybe there's a couple bad incidents with pit bulls that cause them to get a bad rep, but I've heard people with great stories of pit bulls, and there's a lot of people that love their own pit bulls. And somebody was telling me that like she had a pit bull and she just hated the type of reputation that they get because it's so not true for not like 95%, and that's similar with like with like Mexicans where a couple people do a bad thing and the whole people get a bad rep.
Like Donald Trump said, they're all rapists.
Right.
All criminals and drug dealers.
We
Like,
have to,
obviously
so we
not.
have, so we have. It's easy. We just have to kill all the pit bulls, especially the singer. You know, he's at the top of the list.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
gotta go. He's gotta go. He's the leader of all of them. You know, he's got it. He is what they turn into. We're trying to stop more of him.
I just think like even some pit bulls are just like so afraid. Like Phi Sig, one of the fraternities on campus, has a frat pit bull. Her name's Armani. She's super cute and she's like afraid of a lot of things, like all the time. Like she's the least aggressive pit bull, least aggressive dog I think I've ever met. And I just think it's ridiculous that like some dogs that are trained so poorly can just ruin everything for an entire species
I think
breed.
it's just gonna come back to the way you solve this problem isn't by punishing the dogs. It's by instilling in the people like you have to keep your dog under control. You have to make sure if you're walking it, it doesn't get loose. You have to make sure if you're in a public space with it, like keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't wander off because yes, it's not the dog's fault when it does something wrong. But if it does something wrong, we're going to have to act because we have to keep an eye on the people. So I think you should instill more protection laws for the dogs while also making sure that the owners are the ones getting the fines if they do not cooperate. So that way the dogs aren't being punished, it's the irresponsible owners that are.
I agree. I think it's really on the owners. I think if you own one of those dogs, it's really your responsibility to make sure it's trained. And if there is some incident, it's not the dog's fault. Like you said, it's the person that owned the dog that let the dog get off and whatever happened. But that's not. A lot of people get killed for a lot of different reasons. That's not a big percentage of it.
Well, these are some lovely insights for the puppy love. Let's all just enjoy the pit bulls, but let's enjoy them later because we'll be right back. And we're back. For our last segment, we're going to be talking about how Kim Kardashian got robbed and tied up. But did she? And what did Kanye think about it? Who knows? Let's find out. I'm here with, what a surprise, the same people as the other two segments. All right.
So sorry.
So, Kim Kardashian apparently was tricked by two people who were posing as police officers and was then like tied up and like locked in a closet and had her ring and phone and millions of dollars worth of stuff stolen. First off, I don't really think it happened. So what do you guys think?
I also don't think it really happened because this sounds a lot like a specific Olympian has said something similar to that.
Ryan Lochte.
Ryan Lochte.
Yeah.
I was like specific Olympian. I was like, I
Thinking the
forgot
other
his name.
Specific Olympian that we all know.
No.
But
No,
I
the other one.
happen to have forgot his name. Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, but there was actually pictures. You think that was just
What pictures?
there was a picture. I guess she posted a picture of herself like tied up, which actually is suspect.
Wait,
how
wait,
did she
what?
get a picture of herself?
Yeah, actually, that's you're right.
That's so
a good
suspicious.
point.
I personally think it happened just because I don't see any reason why she would make that big of a deal out of like getting the police involved. If she did, I think it would have turned more into a this is what happened to me while I was in Paris after the fact kind of story if it was one she was just trying to make up.
Was you trying
Well,
to do like a
I have a
reenactment
couple
photo?
theories about it. I'm thinking either one, she's not really been in the media lately. Like she's married, she's got kids, like kind of old news. PR person needs to spice it up a bit. Second theory, doesn't like the ring Kanye got her, stages this whole thing so that she can get a new ring.
My problem I have with this whole situation is I think that it speaks volumes about how people on like social media and the internet have been very just dismissive of Kim Kardashian and like not just her, but she speaks to a bigger problem that there is that we treat these celebrities like kind of like inhumanely, not in the way that like oh they should be like they're just like us, but it's like I read some of the comments like the news reports were getting as it was like just breaking, and they were like some awful things they were saying. They're like, oh, we missed our chance to kill her for good. Oh, like I'm sure. Like just like stuff that like, okay, imagine for a like I think someone put it. I think it was like Chrissy Teigen or one of like some other celebrities put it. It's like, what if that was your mom? And I was like, that's a mother. Like you can say what you want about her, and like I make plenty of jokes about Kim Kardashian as the next guy. I don't personally like her that much. I have no problem with like her business. I think that it's whatever. If you can make money doing nothing, tell me how to, please. I'm begging you. But like,
Gotta have a nice
got,
body.
like, you know what? She's got kids. Like, I would never wish that on any parent. I would never wish that on anyone's wife. So like,
I mean, the reason why they're shitting on her is because like they think it's just like a stunt, just to get more attention.
But
so they're suspicious.
here's my problem. When she says it, it becomes a publicity stunt. But when say Beyonce or say another similar artist or someone did it, they win. That's a problem because we can't treat these as if like it's a legitimate threat.
I just feel like Kim Kardashian, like she must have bodyguards. Like there must be someone like on her or like within 10 feet of her at all times. Or like anyone on the street is gonna recognize her. They're gonna be like, oh, where'd she go? Like she's screaming. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like such a big celebrity, it can't really happen to. Also, why wasn't she taken for ransom then?
The thing is
More
like.
money.
I remember if I was reading the story correctly, the men were dressed as cops. Like that's how they got in. Is like they disguised themselves as cops, had like kind of concealing stuff to keep their faces a little off the records, like they weren't gonna get tracked. And then I assume that most of her bodyguards weren't in the room with her. They probably were standing outside or like down the hallway. That's typically how I believe they're handled. That way they're not. She has her privacy. But I also think that the fact of the matter is that if it did happen, which I believe it did, but I think that there's an issue with the fact that the public has been very much against her. Not even like, if you don't care about it that it happened to her, okay, that's fine. Like you're not entitled, you're not asked to care about everything that happens to every person in the world. But I think that you can at least show the courtesy to a fellow human being, not to say you deserved it, because no one deserves that. And like I read a report recently that she was quoted saying, I feel like I deserved this, because she feels like she was flaunting her like jewelry and stuff on like Snapchat and other Instagram, like other social media.
I don't think anyone deserves that.
So she feels like that she was like, oh, I feel like I called them on, like, oh, they like clearly they saw them, like, oh, let's go get her, like I like provoked it. And I think I feel awful for that. I'm like, no one deserves to feel like that, and I hope that like if she is feeling that way, she feels better and like can get just back to feeling a little safer, because like. I can't imagine like the fear I would have coming back and like not being able to trust just being alone in the house.
Yeah, I definitely don't think she deserved it if it happened. I just think it's just a little bit of a fishy story. Like it's a little sus,
Yeah.
Kanye was pretty concerned about her because like
it was
he
so
stopped
cute.
his show to go see if she's okay.
Yeah.
But then like some like fans were were being assholes like. What? I only saw him for half an hour because of Kim K was in danger? God, I wasted my money.
I think Kanye was the cutest husband in the world when he
Yeah,
did
that
that.
was really nice.
He was literally like in the middle of singing a song and it was like hold on, like breaking, like emergency, like I gotta go. Like he left like
Peace out.
immediately.
I think it speaks volumes. Like, yes, we kind of give crap to the Kardashians and to Kanye for always being all over the media, but right now. I don't hear any of them like going out and like being very vocal about this. They're keeping it very much to themselves, which I think adds to the credibility of like this is a real thing that just happened, and they're not trying to make something out of it. They're scared of it. They're more just.
It's a valid point.
I think it helps to humanize them, and I hate that they had to do this for maybe someone to look at like, okay, maybe they're kind of like the rest of us. Stuff happens, so it's scary and it's like kind of unfortunate. I think that the people who think it didn't happen and it's just a publicity stunt, like it just shows that I think a bigger problem was it was all like being reported through social media, and people on the internet have no kind of grace when it comes to like treating people with respect, because you don't have to. There's no one's gonna come after you on the internet for saying something like in real life. Like you can say and act however you want. So these people, they don't treat others with the dignity they would in real life. So I think if like someone heard about this from like a source in person, they wouldn't be like, oh, that's all just made up. Like I hope she dies. Like no, you'd probably be like, oh, that's too bad. Like even if you don't mean it, it's courtesy.
Yeah. I do just want to say one thing about Kanye though. Well, not Kanye, but about his stage crew. It was so funny. I saw the clip of when he stopped the show and they forgot to turn off the auto-tune. So when he was like saying like hold on, like I gotta go, it was like hold on, like I can't do it. But like you can just imagine it. It was
The fans
You
are
Gotta
just
get
like,
an
is this part
auto
of the
tune on Yak
song?
Back for to
It
show
Yeah.
what it is.
It would have been great if they just got like, listen, the auto tune song. Like, we send like Joe out there just to finish the song. Like, yeah, I know he sucks. Just send him out there. Auto tune makes anyone sound good. Just go. These people are gonna kill someone anyways.
Yeah.
Now, so they have kids? How many?
They have two. They have a little boy named
They have
Saint, I think is his name.
North,
and-
Saint?
North and Saint.
Yeah, Northwest and Saint West are the two names, I believe.
They could have done like Northwest.
They're very young.
And
I
then
think
Southwest.
I believe
Oh.
they're
They should
like.
have done that.
Or
I believe they're
North.
only like. I think North
my
is
God.
like 2 at the
North
most.
is adorable.
Yeah,
she
she's-
has the cutest
Yeah,
fashion
and
sense.
Saint's less than a year old. So like, they're again, if this is their mom, so it would be terrible to see anything happen to her.
Where were the kids while
That's
this was
Probably
happening?
with the family.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Robbing their mom. No, just kidding.
How old are they?
Like 2 and
They're-
below
I mean, I'm
1.
sure they were with someone, but like, what if they were in the house when this happened? Like, were they backstage at Kanye? I don't know. Will we ever know? Well, I'm sure this has been a terrifying experience for the Kardashians, but we gotta wrap up the show now. This has been another lovely episode of Yak Pack. If you'd enjoyed your time with us, I'm your host, Christine Suelia, and if not, I'm your host, Jake Liberty. Catch you next time.